analyze and clean the data, to clear up the data. That's clean. And find the sales. Good. So that's what I'm looking for. Okay. And find the sum of sales. Beautiful. Beautiful. So that's what I'm looking for. Okay. Nice. So now we want to clean this data. We want to clean this data. Come in. Okay, so now we want to clean this data, isn't it? Let's make it better. Quickly, first thing I notice is there are blank rows there, isn't it? I quickly go through the data and I notice blank rows, quite a number of blank rows, isn't it? Right? So I go ahead and remove blank rows first. Am I right? Am I right? I go ahead and remove blank rows first. Okay, good. So I'm going to simply highlight everything. When I highlight everything, I see that, oh, it's not highlighting the entire data. So I'm going to start from here. I'll click and drag all the way down. I'll click and drag all the way down. Okay, so after doing this, what do? I'm going to come over to where I have find and select, go to special, because I want to highlight all the blank rows. So I'm going to click on blanks, now click on OK. All right, so only the blank rows are selected now, I highlighted now. So I'll come over to where I have delete at the top. I'll click on this drop down arrow and I will click delete sheet rows. Delete sheet rows. So I'm going to select that and it deletes all the blank rows that I have. Okay, it deletes all the blank rows that I have. Do you see that? All right, now I have deleted the blank rows successfully. Okay, so you all are quite familiar with that steps, isn't it? So now, what I'm going to do next is to go through each one of the columns. Okay, I'm going to go through each one of the columns. And how do I mean? Looking at this filter icon here, I'm going to click the filter icon and go through each one of the columns. Okay, checking the values I have there. So on this first one, okay, on this filter pane here, I don't have any blanks. Okay, I just have values there. For the order ID, there are no blank anywhere. So I'm going to come over to the date. I check the date as well. There are no blanks anywhere, isn't it? That's quite easy. Let's see. The time. Are there blanks anywhere? Scroll through the time. There are no blanks as well. For the email, I scroll through. There are no blanks as well. For the gender, let's see, no blanks as well. For the address, no blanks as well. So, segment, about segments, no blanks. Product ID, no blanks. Nice. Quantity, no blanks as well. But immediately I go through the quantity, I just notice something. Something just piques my interest. Okay, and what is that? I find out that as I scroll down looking for blanks, I get to the bottom and I'm seeing some funny looking numbers here. Isn't it? So after 9900, I'm having one S, something that will probably be 15. I come up here, I'm seeing 15. Okay, so there's 15. So why is there one S? So this should be changed to 15. This should be 50. Why is it appearing like this? This should be 90 as well. Why is it appearing like this? Okay, so we're going to need to correct that. But let's start from our first column again. Okay, so the other ID usually would have no issues. Okay, because you really cannot tell which other ID is correct or wrong. It's an identification column. That's what they give you as the identifier, that you just accept that, okay, should be the identifier. But on the date column, what do we notice? We notice that it is not properly formatted, isn't it? It is not properly formatted. So what do we want to do? We want to change the format from number to date format. We want to change the format from number to date format. Okay, so what we're going to do is to select that column. See how I'm taking it slowly now. So my voice has gone, a bit slow. So select the date column. After selecting the column, I'm going to come over to where I have general over here. Okay, so format that date column. So I'm going to click on the drop down arrow near general, and then I'm going to change it to short dates. Short date. Okay, so immediately I change it to short date. Do you see what happens? So it changes it immediately to date column. Isn't it? It changes it immediately to date column or date data type. Okay, so now next up, the time. I check the time column as well. It's not properly formatted as time. It's showing in decimals. Okay, so what I'm going to do is simply do what? I'm going to convert this to time. Okay, I don't think I mentioned this as well. So some of you on your submission did excellently well. Okay, though there are one or two missing things there, which you would see from this correction. Okay, while some of you, well, let's just leave that out. Okay, but I saw what you did, and well, some people even beautified the tables and all of that. Some did the sum of the table at the bottom. Some did it at the side. Beautiful, beautiful initiative. Okay, I noticed some people did the sum, but they did not correct these letters that were here. Okay, so you'll be having inaccurate results, though you will not know. Okay, because Excel will sum it for you and skip out those ones that have letters. Okay, so what again did I notice? So there was someone that that cleaned the data a bit, did not consolidate, but for the the person to consolidate, I think the person consolidated. But when the person consolidated, he used the VLOOKUP and used it successfully. But when I asked, okay, find the sum of sales, the person summed the unit price column. Okay, so you will see why that is not the sum of sales, because you're meant to multiply quantity by unit price to get sales. Okay, so I saw the submissions, beautiful, nice one. You probably think, oh, the submission is much, you won't go through it. So nice one from you all submitted. Okay, so back to this, the time column. Okay, now I'm going to change the format from just general. I'll click this drop down arrow and I'll change it to time. Okay, I'll change it to time. Do you see that? Then I'm going to come back to email. Now I'm going to expand email, and quickly I see something. Okay, the email, we don't have the customer name, but from this, I think I can easily assume that the email is the first name underscore the last name, or the last name underscore the first name. Okay, but just to demonstrate the techniques again, so you can see that what we are doing now is basically like a recap of what we've been doing so far. I'm not teaching anything new. Okay, We're just using the techniques that have been taught so far. So what we are doing is just like a recap. Okay? So pay full attention. All right. Now, from the email, let us try to get the first name and the last name out. Okay? How did we do that? How did we teach ourselves to do that? I'm going to insert a new column here and insert another column. So first and foremost, I'm going to get the first name by giving Excel an example. Okay. Oh my God. Keyboard lights is very, very beautiful. So the issue with my keyboard, where I had to be making use of an on-screen keyboard. So I already sorted it out. Change my keyboard, and it looks nice. All right. So the first name. Now let's move on to the next one. Immediately I type the first letter on the second row. You can see that it gives me some suggestion. I'll press enter to effect that suggestion. Okay. Now for the last name as well. The last name is Jumper. So let's type out Jumper. Right? And then Maddox. Immediately I type Maddox, you see it gives me some suggestion. I'm going to effect that by pressing enter. You see that? Okay. How do you download Virtual Keyboard? You don't download it. Just click your start button and search for on screen. Okay. So it comes with every Windows system. So this is on screen keyboard. Once you click on it, it pops up and you can make use of it. So we've gotten the first name and the last name. So let's rename the column and call it first name, last name. Right? Now, moving on to the gender column. So we've done our cleaning so far. Now let us move on to the gender column. I'm going to use my filter icon again to see. Now, on the gender column, I see or I notice inconsistencies. Instead of using just one notation to or one character or word to denote male, I'm using another word to denote female. I'm having FE, female, male, man. Okay, so I'm going to correct that by using just F for female and M for male. Okay, F for female, M for male. All right, now how do I do that? I'm going to highlight the column first. Okay, and then I'm going to come over to where I have and select. I'll click on replace. So what do I want to find? I want to find every instance of F, and I'll tell it to replace with what? F, just letter F. And I will select match entire cell content, meaning everything in the cell must be FE before you can replace. So that whenever I click it, just change the FE to just F. Okay, to skip that one so that we can easily do that one. Okay, so I'll click match entire cell content, and then I will click replace all. So you can see it says all done. We made 209 replacements. I'm going to click OK. Okay. And I'll come back here. Now let us look for female. Replace with just F again. Match entire cell content, and I will click replace all. All done. We made 146 replacements. Beautiful. I'll say okay. Now let us find man. Man. Replace with what? Letter M. And I'll say replace all. All done. We made 14 replacements. Let us look for male as well. And replace with letter M. And then I'll click replace all. All done. We made 145 replacements. Then I'll close this. And now let us check. I have just F for female, M for male. Okay, so yes, you can also leave it as male and female. What you have to do is just make sure it's gender. Okay, why have 3 different things denoting male? Okay, so male should be male. So if you are using M, if you are using male, use male. All right, good. Now, for address, on the address column, what do you see? We see quickly that what? It looks like the address is joined together. Isn't it? It looks like the address is joined together. Joined together. Right? So what we're going to do simply is to do what? What we're going to do is to simply do what? What are we going to do? What are we going to do to that column? What are we going to do to that column? What are we going to do to that column? Text to column. Beautiful. Make use of text to column to split the column. Isn't it? Okay? It makes use of text to column to split the column. All right. So, before we can do that, we need to insert some columns to the right-hand side. Okay, so I'm going to right-click segment. I'll say insert so that you have a new column here. I'll do that again. Right. So now let us start the splitting. I'm going to select my address column. Sorry. Okay, so I'm going to select my address column first. Okay, and then I'm going to come over to where I have text to column. That's on my data tab, isn't it? On my data tab, text to column. Okay, so click on text to column. All right, now for delimited, meaning our data is separated by characters. Okay, I'm going to click on next. It asks me what are your delimiters. I say tab. Okay, but there's no tab there, isn't it? So I'm going to uncheck tab and I will check comma. So comma is a delimiter. What again is a delimiter? Forward slash is a delimiter. So I'm going to check order and I will insert forward slash there. Do you see that? So immediately I put forward slash, you can see that it has splitted it accordingly, but there is a blank column here. And the reason is because it has 2 forward slashes. Okay, but we don't need this blank column. I know some of you might have gone on to do it like this, then delete that blank column. All I need to do is to click treat consecutive delimiters as one. A delimiter is any character that separates the values in your data. So you have values in your data joined together by a particular character. Okay, so that character is a delimiter. So you see now that when I click treat consecutive delimiters as one, you can see what happens, right? So I'm going to click next, and then I'm going to click finish. And you see that it splits it properly. Okay, so now this would simply be the city, the states, and the country. isn't it? City, state, and country, right? So, what did I do? Let me see something. Highlight the column, come to text to columns, delimited text. So my delimiter is comma, and then I check order as well. So / because / is also a delimiter, is separating the state from the country. I'm going to click treat consecutive delimiters as 1. I'll click next and I'll click finish automatically. Okay, so I will now rename the columns. Bolu, you can see I've taken that again. So I'll rename the columns city, state, and country. Now, so far, is there anything that I made use of that haven't been taught in class before? Nothing. Okay? Nothing. Right? So, in all sincerity, the only reason why you were not able to submit your assignment before the deadline is because you were not determined to. That is the reason why, because I am privileged, okay, to have taught more than, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, more than 7 cohorts in Hegital. Okay? More than 7 cohorts in Hegital. And one thing I noticed is that whenever you give assignment, there's always a request for extension. The assignment is difficult and all of that, okay? But what I've done so far, there is nothing I have done that has not been taught in class before, or that goes outside the scope of what we've done in class, okay? So I know that when people don't submit the assignment, it is only because you are not determined to. If you sit down and say, okay, in the next 1 hour, I want to tackle this thing, if not that I am teaching this thing to you, okay, once you know what you want to do, the next question is, what technique do I apply? The techniques have been taught. You apply the techniques and you have your answer. Okay? That's the reason why the first class I said you need determination. Let's proceed. So we have a column for segments now. Let's go through the segments column. Consumer. Oh, do you see? I think there's a misspelling here. There's a misspelling here. Isn't it? Consumer. So this should be consumer. Right? So I'm going to select the 2 of them. Okay. Or I'll just come over to find and replace. I'll come over to find and replace. Select the column, come home, find and replace. So find what? Consume, and replace it with consumer. I have to make sure that this one is checked. Match entire cell content, and I'll click replace all. All done. We made 2 replacements. I'll say okay, and I'll close this. Then I'll move on to the product ID. Check it. Okay, so this is an identification column. I don't think there's anything to be done on this. Since there are no blanks, I'll move on to the quantity. So for the quantity, I noticed quickly that the only letters I have are letter S and 0, or letter O. So I will change letter S to 5. I will change letter O to 0. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to highlight this. Find, replace. Find what? I'm going to find letter O. And I'll replace it with the number 0. I'll say replace all. It says we couldn't find anything to replace. Click options to find blah, 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 blah. Okay, so that's because I selected match entire cell content. So I'll just deselect this and I'll retry. Replace all. Beautiful. All done. We made 2 replacements. Okay, so I'll do the same thing for letter S. And I'll say replace it with number 5. Replace all. Beautiful. 2 replacements again. So I think that's all. Now I'll check quantity. Beautiful. So we have just numbers there. Nice. And I am done with the first. What's it called? The first phase. First data. Okay? I am done with the first data. Beautiful. Okay? So if you want to impress me, okay, although it's something that, okay, you probably could have done in your, what's it called? When you get to pivot table, it will be quite easy. You could have just said, okay, let's see. You could have just said, what of duplicates? Yes, we'll remove duplicates. So once we consolidate the data, okay, at the end of everything, we then remove duplicates. Okay? Someone said there are duplicates on the product ID. So does it mean that 2 people cannot buy the same thing? Does it mean 2 people cannot buy the same thing? Okay? So if you're checking for duplicates, you check the entire data. Okay? Now, if you wanted to impress me, okay, so you've done all this successfully well, you go ahead and say, okay, so let's get the day name and the month name out of the date as well. But it's not necessary since you actually have a date column, okay? If you wanted to add that, you could have added that, you know. So I'll know that, oh, yes, this person actually, you know, demonstrated good use of the functions, understanding, and all of that. Isn't it? Okay? So, let's see. So, what again? Okay, so now onto the products table. So, Lola, the reason is because you did not match entire cell content. Okay, so there are some places where you already have consumer. So it will just pick the consume before the last R and change it to consumer again. So that's why you'll be having double R. But because I simply matched the entire cell content, so it is only where it says consume. If it says consumer, it will skip that cell. Okay? So if you go through the video again, you would see where I selected match entire sales content. Okay? So now, there really is no cleaning to do here, actually, for the products table. But let's see. Filter. We're going to insert filter there. And then let's check. For product ID, let me check through. No blanks. So we don't know if a product name is valid or not, isn't it? So whatever name it is we're given, there are so many funny names there, isn't it? So we're just going to leave this for the product name. The category, they all look fine. So for units price, let's see, do we have any letters? Okay, so there are no letters. Nice. Then for unit cost, no letters as well. Beautiful. So someone asked a question. Okay, someone asked a question regarding add currency. Yes, we can add currency. Yes, okay, so we can either do that here, or when we consolidate the 2 sheets, okay, into one, then we can add the currency. Okay, I prefer doing it after I have brought these columns into the next one, into the other sheets. But if you want us to do it here, no problem. So we'll do that. So someone asked, what is the difference between unit price and unit cost? The same way you have selling price and cost price. Okay, so this is the unit selling price, and this is the unit cost price. Okay, so how much it costs you to maybe manufacture the product or buy the product, okay, and then how much you are selling the product is the unit price or unit selling price. Okay, so based on this now, okay, so you said we should insert currency, so let's go ahead and insert currency. I'll just insert dollars for this. I'll highlight this. I'll insert dollars as well for this. Okay? So, now, it doesn't matter how you insert your dollar. If your dollar is joined together with the number, no problem. Okay? So, now, I'll come back to my sales table. All right? And for each one of these sales, for each one of this record, okay, I want to grab the corresponding detail for the product ID. So I only have the product ID here. I don't have the product name. I don't have the product category. I don't have the unit price and unit cost. So I need to join the two tables together. Now, what key am I going to use to join the tables together? What is that column they have in common? Okay, that should be used to join the product table to the sales table. What is that column they have in common? Product ID, product ID, product ID. If you have a different answer, you can let us know. Okay, someone said product name. Someone said product name. Someone said order ID. Okay. Okay, so for those of you that said product name and order ID, you will see that there is no order ID on the product table. Neither is there product name on the sales table. You need a column that is common to both tables, sales and products. And number two, it is usually best that column is an identifying column, okay? Or an identification column. So in this case, the common column now is what? Product ID. Okay? I hope you get that now for those of you that said order ID or product name. If you said order ID or product name, I hope you understand my explanation now. Kindly respond. No. Okay, so Obi is Ada Obi. Now, I said, join this together, your product table, your sales table. You need a column, okay, that is on both tables, okay, that is related to both tables. So which column can you find on your sales table and you can also find on your product table? Which column is that, Ada Obi? Which column is that? Seems Obiezi Ada Obi does not want to respond again. Column E. Why did you say column E? Look at the column headers. Okay? Product ID, product name, category, unit price, unit cost. Okay? Which one of these headers can you find in your sales table? Look at the headers on the sales table as well. Okay? So now, give me an answer. All right? So product ID. Okay? So now we can work on the product ID to join it. Okay? So if the product ID was not there, okay, you would have had to find a different column, okay, that is similar to both. If there's no column similar to both, then how will you now join it? Okay? You won't. You can't. Okay? But since we have the column similar to, which is product ID. So that will be our lookup value. Okay, so I'm going to start the VLOOKUP for this cell, then I'll replicate down. So how do I do that? I'll say equals to on this cell. Okay, equals to what? VLOOKUP. Step 1. Step 1. Type the name of the formula. Step 1. Type the name of the formula equals to VLOOKUP. Step 2. Select the lookup value. The lookup value is simply that column that is similar to both. So the corresponding cell here is this cell. I click on it. No, we are not sorting the column first. All right. So I click on that cell and you see what pops up here. L2. L2 is the reference for this cell. Okay. If there's no unique identifier, VLOOKUP will not work. Then comma. If you don't have a lookup value, then how will you look it up? I've answered that question already. Okay. Now, your table array. We have done step 1. Step 1, input your formula. Step 2, select your lookup value. We've done that. Step 3, your table array. Your table array. Your table array is where your data is, the data you want to grab. Where is the data we want to bring into this sheet? It's on this table here, products. I'll select products and I'll highlight the entire table from product ID to unit cost all the way down. I'll highlight everything. I'll highlight everything like this. Okay? Then I'll say, still working with my formula bar. Like I said, the formula is still in the formula bar. Okay, I'll just continue from here. Comma, you can see comma appears here. Okay, column index number. Now the column index number I want to return is column number what? I want to get the product name first. To get the product name, this is column number 1. This is column number 2. So product name is in column number 2. So I'm going to type 2 inside here. So the next thing is what? Comma. Then the range lookup is exact match. Exact match. I will come down and I will press my tab key to select exact match, which says false. I will close my brackets and press enter. You see that it gives me the product name, isn't it? So I will simply come over to my formula bar, highlight only the table array. Highlight the table array and then use absolute referencing. And press enter. See the way I took the VLOOKUP small. Now I'll come to the corner here and double click this. Pam pam. You see the way it does it all the way down. So for those of you that were having NA in sum, I hope you've seen your mistake now. Okay? If you are one of those that were having NA, I hope you've seen where you made error. Okay? I should move to the bottom. This is the bottom. I'm scrolling down. There's no error. Okay, so somebody said yes. Beautiful. So you think error or where you made mistake. Nice. With the way I took it slowly, I should repeat again. Wow. Okay, so let's repeat. But this time around with the product category. So I'm going to call this product name. So let's repeat it with the product category. So for product category, I'll start with what? The formula. Step 1 equals to the lookup. Step 2 is insert your lookup value, which is my product ID. I select it. For those of you that said I should take it again, are you paying attention? Okay. Step 3, so comma, step 3, my table array where my data is on the product table. I'll highlight it from here all the way down, right? Comma, column index number. Now somebody asked the question, which one is column index number? Now column index number, like I've explained times and time again, is the data you want to get or the column you want to extract the data from. Which column are we getting now? Product category, isn't it? Yes, product category. Now, product category is in column number what? If you start counting from your selection, the first selection here is in column number what? In a very numbe. I said column number, you are giving me a letter. I said number. Column number. Okay? Column number 3. Beautiful. So that is the meaning of column index number. Alright? So it's in column number 3. Somebody still put C again. After I said, why are you giving me letter? Ah, God of mercy. Okay, so column number 3. You are welcome. Okay? So after column number 3, comma, then the range lookup type is the exact match. So I'll come down and press my tab key to select it. I'll close my bracket and press enter. See that now it grabs the product category. I will double click here and it goes all the way down. Okay, now let's move on. Let us now go ahead and get the product unit price and cost price. Okay, so I'll simply come over here, copy the formula. I'll come here, paste it. And what will I change here? In order to get the unit price, I'll simply change the column index number to 4, and that will give me the unit price. So, unit price and unit cost. So this is equals to, or just put the formula again, change the column index number this time around to 5. Press enter for unit cost, double click all the way down. Okay, I did not use absolute referencing, really? Oh, thank you very much. So we need to make use of absolute referencing. Let's do that. Wow. So now that I did not make use of absolute referencing, there's every tendency that at a point I'm going to have NA somewhere. Let's check. Do you see that? Beautiful. I like this. Do you see that now? Because I did not use absolute referencing at the beginning. Do you see that? Okay, so at a point I'm having NA somewhere. Okay, so let's go. I have to use absolute reference in here on the table array. F4. So somebody asked a question that if your F4 key is not working, what do you do? Come to the first letter, okay, before the letter A or whichever letter it is that denotes your first cell reference. Press your insert $sign. Then for the number as well, insert $sign. Then come here, insert $sign. Then after again, insert $sign. That's simply what the F4 key is doing. Okay, so I'll press enter. Now come back here and double click again. So now all the place where I had NA has corrected it. Okay, so I'll do it for the other two columns as well. Okay, and we're good to go. So now we have consolidated this data, isn't it? Now let us remove duplicates. Okay, or because you still have just your formulas inside each one of these cells. Okay, it's our formulas we have inside these cells, isn't it? What I would do is to copy and paste just the value. So I would highlight everything all the way down. Do you see that? Highlight everything. Step 1. Step 2, Control C to copy. Step 3, go back to that first cell, right click, and click on values. This particular paste icon that has 1, 2, 3. It will paste only the values. Once I do that, beautiful. Then I will double click anywhere and I'm done. So you see anywhere I click on now, it is only the value that is there. The formula is no longer there. All right. So now let us remove duplicates. So I'm going to highlight the entire data by pressing Ctrl A. I'll come over to where I have my data tab, and I'll come to where I have remove duplicates. Remove duplicates. Okay? So I'll click it. What's loading? Why is it taking time to come up? Remove duplicates. Nice. Okay? So my data has headers. Yes, because I had other ID, blah, blah, blah. So when I checked it, you see that it shifts the selection down by 1 row. Okay? And then I'll click OK. It says what? 23 duplicate values found and removed. Okay? 1,000 unique values remain. Okay. And that's all. Okay? So now, so we got rid of the formulas because we do not need them again. And should in case I go ahead and delete the product ID column, it will lead to an error. Okay? Assuming I deleted the product ID column, it will lead to an error if I still have the formulas there. Okay? So now, we've removed duplicates, isn't it? Right? So, let us now go ahead and do some addition of columns. Okay? Some addition of columns. Now, what column do I want to add? I want to include column for sales. Sales, press enter. Okay, and then if you wanted to, let's say you wanted to, okay, like you wanted to go a step further, okay, because you have the unit cost as well. What I would have expected is that, okay, you go ahead and calculate profit as well. Profit. Sorry. Profit. As well. Okay. So the sales column equals to. So, or wait, let me ask, how do I calculate the sales? How do I calculate the sales? How is it possible to consolidate when two sheets have different number? Oh, okay. So it's very easy. So far your product ID appears on both sheets, okay? Even though the number of rows are different, all you just need to do is just grab the corresponding data, okay? Consolidating two sheets does not mean that the number of rows should be the same thing, okay? It is just going to say, okay, so for this particular product ID, what is the necessary data I need to get? Okay? For this particular product ID, what is the necessary data I need to get? That's all. All right. Okay, so quantity times unit price. Beautiful. Quantity times unit price. So Windows 11, it is not quantity times cost price. So, okay, it is quantity times unit price. So sales is equals to, so where is the quantity? This is quantity. I will click on that column or on that cell. And I will say times, which is my asterisk key. And then I will select unit price and press enter. Okay, and I'll come back here. I will double click so that it will give me the sales all the way to the bottom. You try to remove formula, but your paste options are grayed out. What do you do? So paste options are grayed out. So cancel the operation and retry it. Okay, copy. Once you copy, right click the same place and you should see your paste options. Okay, it should not be grayed out. So profit is calculated how? What is the formula for profit? What is the formula for profit? What is the formula for profit? Unit price minus unit cost. So from this data, if I ask you to calculate profit, how will you calculate it? I think that's what my question should be. From this data, if I ask you to calculate profit, how will you calculate it? Can I recalculate sales again? Iwebo Bayesa. So sales is unit price times quantity. So quantity, this is quantity times unit price. Okay? Quantity times unit price. That will automatically give you the sales amount. All right, do you get that? Quantity times unit price will give you the sales amount. All right, Iwebo Bayosa, do you get that? Somebody has not given me. Okay, I think I have an answer here. I think we have an answer here by Tokubie. Unit cost times quantity minus sales. Okay, 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 okay. Unit price minus quantity times, okay, minus cost times quantity. Okay, nice. Okay, so to calculate the profit directly, all I need to do is subtract the cost from the sales and then multiply the answer by the quantity. I can do it at once by doing what? Equals to. Please pay attention to the formula now. Equals to. I'll open brackets. Please pay attention to this formula now. Okay? Equals to, open brackets. Okay? Unit price, I select that cell. Please pay attention to this formula. Minus unit cost, I select that cell as well. And then I close the brackets. I've not done anything hard. I hope everyone is following that. Times, using my asterisk key, the quantity. And then I press enter. That will give me my profit automatically. Then I will double click here. Pam pam. And I have my profit. So you see the sales amount and the profits made. Okay? No closing brackets. I've opened the brackets here. I've closed it here. Why did you say no closing brackets, Bolu? Okay, so I'm going to highlight this all the way down. Okay, and then copy, right click, and paste only the values. Okay, I should repeat the VLOOKUP for unit price. Okay, so if it is unit price that you want me to repeat the VLOOKUP for, then it means you got the VLOOKUP for product name and product category. Okay, so the only difference is the column index number. Okay, we've taught VLOOKUP before in the last class, or is it 2 classes ago? We've looked at it again using the product name and product category. So if you don't have issues with that, you don't have issues with the unit price. Okay, so the unit price, all you just have to do is just change the column index number. All right, so for the closing brackets, you don't need any closing brackets after. So far, there's no opening brackets. There's no opening brackets there. Okay, so we've gotten the profit as well, isn't it? So now let us calculate the sum of the sales column. The sum of the sales column. But before we do that, let's make this data look better. Let's make it look nice. What do you think? Let's make it look nice. So I am going to highlight my data. Control Shift. Highlight everything like this. Okay. Then I'm going to come over to Insert. Okay. I've not touched this method before. Come over to Insert and then click Insert Table. So it says, where is the data for your table? The selection I made. My table has headers. Yes. So I say, okay. You see that? So I'm going to change the outlook to this. But I noticed this is what somebody used. Okay? So what somebody used. All right, so I have this. So you have this, your nice table right here. So you can see the steps we took to effectively clean and transform this data. So is there any particular step that we took that haven't been taught in class before? No step at all, not even one. Not even one. Okay, so now for the sales, let's get the sum of